Hello everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. At the park, Summer joins Phyllis, Lucy, and Daniel. She tells them that Chance said Daniel needs a lawyer, and the evidence is pretty damning. Phyllis urges Daniel to hold it together. She reminds him that he's strong and assures him they're going to get through this. She's his mom, and he knows what she's capable of. She never gives up, ever. And neither should you. Daniel thanks her. Lucy sits on the park bench, upset. Summer sits by her, and Lucy worries that the police think her dad is guilty. Phyllis says Chance is just trying to give her dad the best advice. Lucy fears her dad will get arrested. Summer reassures her. Daniel thinks Chance should find out who is setting him up, and who would want to hurt Heather in the first place. Phyllis steps aside and remembers Sharon ranting at Heather in the club. Phyllis tells her children that this is someone with a clear motive, and so clever they could break into the apartment without anyone finding out. She muses, what if it were Sharon? Daniel thinks that's a stretch. Phyllis asks, is it? She was there when she got in Heather's face, and Nick and her kids have been going on and on about her mental instability. It's odd that she showed up at the apartment that Heather died. Instead of telling them, she told the police. She claimed that Heather was afraid of Daniel, and then all of this evidence showed up at his apartment. Daniel says it's not enough to point the finger at her for murder. Phyllis intones, it's enough for me. Daniel thinks she wants to hang it on Sharon because of all the years they spent hating each other. Phyllis denies it. She's one of the only ones who knows what that woman is truly capable of. She flashes to her past clashes with the blonde, including the fight in the chocolate fountain. Phyllis acknowledges her history with Sharon, but says if Daniel doesn't think the blonde capable of violence, he's very wrong. She tried to kill me once. She recalls Sharon putting her in a coma for over a year with the fall down the stairs. And we all know what she did to Cameron Kirsten Wright. Summer says that was self-defense. Phyllis says it means she's capable of it. She theorizes that maybe Heather and Sharon got into a fight, and it was a tragic accident. Daniel can't buy her framing him for murder. He doesn't need his mother going off. Phyllis understands why he'd think she'd overreact, given the things she's done in her life. Lucy asks, what kind of things? Daniel says her grandmother has taken things to the extreme from time to time. Phyllis sits Lucy down. Would you like to know about your grandmother? I have a few stories to tell you. Summer worries about Lucy hearing the stories. Phyllis will keep it clean. She wonders, where do I start? She tells Lucy that everything she's done has been to protect people she loves. Let's start with the dead octopus. Daniel groans. Summer's appalled to hear that she put a dead octopus in Paul and Christine's honeymoon bed. Phyllis next tells her granddaughter that she's been known to go undercover. She flashes through some of her disguises. Summer and Daniel marvel that even they haven't heard some of these stories. Phyllis was afraid they'd judge her. Daniel says she's always done her best, they know that. Phyllis tears up. She's made mistakes, starting with your father, she tells Daniel. It comes out that she stalked him. Phyllis tells Lucy it was complicated. She was determined to make their family work. She explains that almost losing Daniel when he was a baby brought them together. She flashes to Danny proposing. Lucy asks what happened next. Phyllis muses, how do I explain? Daniel says the truth is a good place to start. Phyllis tells Lucy she loved Danny very, very much, but he didn't love her back. She lied and manipulated to keep her family together. And then somebody whose name rhymes with the name Cricket told him Daniel wasn't his biological child. She lost custody of her son. She flashes to a time she tried to see him. Lucy finds this story sad. Phyllis says it was sad for a long, long time. And then we found each other, right? Daniel smiles. They remember when they reconnected. Lucy asks, so you and Grandpa never? Phyllis says no. She tried, but his heart belongs to Christine. She likes to think she's changed and grown, mainly because of her kids. You guys are the reason that I keep going. Daniel urges her to tell Summer's story. Phyllis tells Lucy she'll have to tell her about Jack first. She wasn't his type. She looks back on her early relationship with the abbot. Phyllis smiles that they had so much fun. She flashes too, flashing him her red lingerie. She tells Lucy she didn't want to commit, but Jack had other ideas. She remembers him proposing and assuring her that she's part of the family. For a while, she was part of the abbots. Lucy asks what happened. Phyllis tried to give Jack a child, and they found out she couldn't conceive. It was a crushing blow to him. Enter Diane with Kyle. Ultimately, that's what ripped them apart. Phyllis remembers scenes from that painful time. Phyllis tells Lucy, "Oh, I loved him. There are just some hurdles you cannot get over." She turns to Summer. "Then I connected with your father." She recalls her first kiss with Nick and their early days together. Daniel says that was after the accident with Cassie. Phyllis says she was lost, Nick was grieving, and they found each other. Daniel marvels that so much of their lives can be traced back to that night. Summer says it's weird to think that she might not have been born, if not for her dad's grief over Cassie. Phyllis says that's not true. They have a very deep connection. She explains it was complicated with Sharon and Jack, but then, surprise, Summer smiles, "I came along." Phyllis didn't know if Jack or Nick was her father. Lucy asks, "What did you do?" Phyllis says she talked to her best friend in flashes, to telling Michael she was pregnant. Summer knows that her dad didn't go back to Sharon. "He stayed with you." Phyllis says he did, and remembers Nick calling her Mrs. Newman. Lucy asks what happened next. Phyllis says what happened next was beautiful, but also the most terrifying night of her life. She teases that it was a dark, stormy night. She went into labor. Nick went to get the hospital bag, but he had to save Daniel's life after he went off the road. She got stuck in an elevator at Newman Enterprises with Jack. Lucy marvels that Jack had to deliver the baby of the guy she left him for. Phyllis says yes. Phyllis then touches on the tale of Sharon switching Summer's paternity test. "Anyway, Nick and I didn't live happily ever after, did we?" She sighs that it was such a good ride with him, though. Lucy thinks her granny is awesome. Her dad and Summer are pretty lucky. She's a different kind of mom, but she loves her kids and will do anything for them, like mine. Lucy hugs Phyllis. Daniel thinks they should call it a night. Summer asks her mother what she'll do about Sharon.